Yes, this is a 1970 V6 Marcos GT, built in the factory in Bradford-on-Avon. I've had it about 12 years, and it's the first time it's been out for a few weeks, so here we go.
This is the second time it's been out in a few years?
Yeah, I took it to a classic car rally a couple of Sundays ago.
Francis Albert Costin, better known as Frank, joined up with Jem Marsh to form Marcos. But before this, he was an aeronautical engineer working with aerodynamics for aeroplanes. And it was actually his brother Mike, who was working for Lotus at the time, who asked him to design a race car. The idea of using aerodynamics on a car was fascinating to Frank, and he went on to design a number of other racing cars as a consultant, but also as part of Marcos, who were now beginning to design their own cars for production. The company's more famous designs include the GT Gullwing, the GT 1800, the Mantis XP, which also brought us the Mantis M70. But Frank wasn't the only Costin to make an impact on the motoring world. His brother Mike joined up with Keith Duckworth to form one of the most legendary motor companies around, Cosworth, who went on to work with many Formula One companies developing their engines, which got them noticed by Ford, who asked them to work on the Sierra RS Cosworth and later the Escort RS Cosworth. But for now, let's go back to the GT. So it's a V6 engine.
Yeah,
Original
it's the
engine?
Ford Essex engine.
Yeah.
Develops about 150 brake horsepower.
So
I've done a lot of modifications to this car. It's got TR6 wheels on, wire wheels, they're tubeless.
I noticed they were they're not the original wheels, are they?
Yeah, that's right. The original ones went out to Germany. I sold them to a bloke out there. They were mint, but they weren't for me. I know some people will say, well, why have you taken them off? You know, it's going to devalue the car, but I don't think it will do. I think these wire wheels look a heck of a sight better than the original Marcos alloys.
I think it's also a bit too rare for it to devalue it that much.
That's right, yeah, because these cars are they're getting very sought after. Not saying that I want to sell it, 'cause I don't.
Is this
Certainly not at the moment, anyway.
Is this the class that you're keeping hold of then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
A couple of things I noticed, we've got loads of switches.
Yeah, with no ident on it.
No.
And then sometimes I hit the wrong one. Now, the original dashboard I've altered, as you can see. I've put these gauges all round in like a rugby ball shape, and I thought they looked really nice like that. Now, the switches used to be at the top across, and they were all rocker switches, but these are Lucas flick switches.
Yeah.
So this is an ongoing project. They're okay, they're functional, but I'm going to make a nice plate to go in there and put ident on them all.
Okay. So what have we got in terms of the dials? Are they all original?
Yes, most of them are original, or the Smiths types.
So what have we got? We've got amps for the battery and volts.
Yeah, that's right. That came originally with the car. The voltmeter I've put in, the clock I've put in, and the vacuum gauge is what I've put in. And then these are the free temperature, oil and fuel. They came with the car.
Okay. And we've also got manual choke. Right at the end there.
Yes, it's got auto choke on though. That actually controls the.
So it's not a choke.
No, it's not the choke. No, it's actually.
I should know
the
that.
heater.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you're pulling in and out for the heater valve.
That's right. Yeah. The heater matrix I've put underneath the bonnet and rerouted the pipes so that it's easier to get at. The original one was off a Morris Minor, and that was behind here now. Can't remember whether I've taken it out or not. It's ages since I've had this top off here. Yeah, that's what I've done with that, because heater matrices are very difficult to get at in most cars.
Yeah.
And if they start leaking, they're an absolute nightmare.
And in this one, I can imagine, because you haven't got effectively compartmented areas that you can take off. You've got
that's
to
right.
take the whole thing out.
Well, originally we had the handbrake down here on the floor.
Okay.
It were terrible to get at.
Yeah.
So we had to go like this. So I moved it up here and put it on a bracket, so it's much better. And then I cut all the gearbox tunnel out. I was going to make a moulded one so it looks all nice.
Yeah.
But that's another job that I haven't got around to.
One of those things. And it says overdrive.
Yeah, we've got overdrive on 3rd and 4th gear.
Okay.
It's a Ford Zodiac gearbox that's in here with a cast iron bell housing, but I do have a Ford Sierra gearbox that were in a race car.
Yes, I've seen that in the garage.
I've also got the aluminium bell housing to mate it up to the Essex engine.
So eventually that will be going in and replacing the gearbox?
Yeah, eventually, yeah, one day.
So it's kind of a lot of original and some sort of modified.
Yeah, I've done
sections to it.
subtle modifications and alterations to the car.
Now, is this original?
Yes, it is, yeah. I think that's out of a Bedford van. It's the courtesy light.
Now known as LDV. Because I
think it was long before that.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised because the first LDV vans were basically rebadged Bedfords. It was exactly the same.
And then obviously down here we've got the pedals.
Yeah.
Now these seats don't move.
They don't move at all.
Fixed seats. So if you want to reach your pedals, you've got a knob on here that you just turn, and it's got a spiraled gear. And it moves the pedals backwards and forwards.
Yeah. So basically you're moving the pedals, not the seats.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Which were a quirky Mike Costin thing.
Well, I think, was it Lamborghini did that as well?
And I think the head restraints, I think Marcos were one of the first manufacturers to put head restraints into a car.
Good idea with safety.
Yeah, well that's it, you see, because they did a lot of racing as well.
As well as designing a racing car for Lotus, Frank also designed a half-listed Jaguar and also the Maserati 450 racing car. But also, Jen and Frank used to like racing themselves, with the Gullwing GT's cockpit raised specifically so that Frank could fit in it. They also raced the Mantis XP, a car with incredibly low drag coefficient, with only one of them ever being built. And I do like the mirror.
Yeah, it's
tiny though.
Tiny, yeah. You can still see out of it alright though. These wing mirrors I've fitted myself, because when this car was built it probably didn't have wing mirrors.
Probably not actually.
Occasionally people put them on the wings further forward.
Yeah, because I know a lot of earlier cars just have them down there.
That's right, yeah.
I actually prefer them, that sort of area.
Yeah, except I can't see hardly anything out of that one.
I can see me. Oh dear. Lovely view up here though. Oh, nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
this just complements the car well.
Yeah, we're about 1,000 foot above sea level here, I think.
We are. I think it's certainly the highest point in Yorkshire, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly one of them, isn't it? Yeah. If not the highest point.
Yeah, it's a bit funny looking down on Emily Moor over there.
Yeah, and it's a windy day today as well.
Warm though, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Right, anything else about this particular car? So we're looking at what's the sort of horsepower on this?
Around about 150.
150.
Yeah.
And how big's the engine?
3 litre V6.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the same engine that they put in Capris, some Cortinas, Scimitars, and some early TVRs.
I think.
So parts are pretty easy to get hold of, yeah.
And in terms of things like steering rack, things like that, is that all?
Right, steering rack. It's a modified GT6 rack.
Right.
goes through several UJs.
Yeah, because
the column's actually nearly horizontal.
yeah, you can tell that from the landing of the steering wheel. There doesn't seem to be much adjustment there.
Rear diff, that's 4 Cortina Mark II.
Yeah.
3.77 ratio.
While it may seem that Marcos were cribbing other people's ideas and technology, this was common practice for small manufacturers at the time because it was cheaper than developing their own. Most famous of this was the Interceptor, which could have a different steering rack depending on what week it was manufactured. But this also has the benefit of making spare parts cheap and easy to find.
Front end, I've got trunnions drop links on now from Canley Classics.
Okay.
Uprated stub axles, alloy hubs. Obviously we've had to mess about with hubs as well, machine them down up lathe to get them to fit, these wire wheels to fit on as well.
And most of this you've done yourself?
Yes, most of it I've done it myself, yeah. Although the car was restored when I bought it.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, the chassis was galvanised by the previous owner.
Because this one is the sort of the less common galvanised chassis, isn't it?
It's actually more common. It would be. It is rare to get a galvanised one, but the early Marcos cars were obviously made out of wood. The chassis were wooden, and then they went on to steel for a couple of reasons, really. People used to laugh and say, well, they'll get woodworm, but they actually outlasted the steel ones. And another reason was the wooden chassis were very labour intensive, whereas a steel chassis box section chassis can soon be welded together. Yeah.
So if one needed to be replaced, you could very, very quickly make one if you got the schematics and everything else.
But, like I say, fortunately this chassis is absolutely mint and it's galvanised as well. It's funny because I took it to an MOT a few years ago. It's MOT exempt now. Yeah. And the bloke was poking about with a screwdriver, and I says that's the runs from the galv. I says it's not rust. I wasn't happy because he'd taken some of the blue paint off.
Oh dear. Right. Well, let's have a listen to that engine.
Electric fuel pump.
That is a really, really nice sound.
Yeah, when it's running nice, this engine's lovely. At the moment, on the way up here, we're spitting and coughing a bit. It wants the carburetor setting up and the timing redoing.
Other than that, it's running.
Yeah, other than that, they're good engines. Originally they were when Ford started with these engines, their idea was to make a diesel engine out of it, and that's why they've got substantial, really over-made bottom end bearings and everything. They're tough. They take a bit to break one.
Somebody's no doubt tried.
Yeah, more than likely. There you go.
So a lovely companion to your 300D then?
That's right, yeah.
Which do you prefer?
This one's fun, it's a bit different, it's a bit quirky, obviously a British sports car. The Mercedes is it's well built, it's refined, it's easy to drive. Yeah. You can sit back, it's like being in an armchair, you can drive with one hand. Yeah. And automatic, of course, as well. So it's like comparing two totally different things.
I can imagine this would be quite a challenge to drive.
It is, yeah. It's like being in a 1950s racing car.
Yeah. But you've got leather.
Yeah.
And actual leather as well, not forks leather.
Of course, it's difficult to get in and out of as well, and you're very low down to the ground.
Yeah, and the seats you sink right in.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, quite nice. I mean, the comfy seats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they are. I have to agree. The thing is, you've got a bit of a view, but you can't see the end of the car.
No, that's right. It's you can't see the end of the bonnet, put it that way. So it's difficult to judge sometimes, but you get used to it after after you've driven it a bit. You get used to driving it.
And with that, it was time to head back. But I couldn't help feeling that this was a representation of a time that just will not come back again. A time of design and refinements, where it was all done with slide rules and tools rather than algorithms and a computer. Frank Costin went on to design several other cars, including the Amigo, of which only 8 were built. But this has to be one of the best cars that Marcos produced. Yes, the Gullwing GT is nice, but these GTs were something different. They were more sleek, more well designed, and had those hints of things like the Jaguar E-Type to them, which is no doubt down to the fact as well that Costin did work alongside Jaguar at times, but not on the E-Type itself. One thing it did do wherever we were with it was catch people's eye. With its distinctive look and the roar of that V6 engine, it certainly got attention wherever we went. And while some people may feel that the removal of the original Marcos wheels and replacing them with TR6 wheels may detract from the car, personally I think it gives it a bit more character, more suitable for that type of vehicle. And the V6 itself is just sublime. There's been an awful lot of work put into this car over the last 12 years, and it definitely shows. It looks impeccable. There's been some things added, there's been some things changed, but it's always been to the benefit of the car and does nothing to diminish it. While there are still some original wooden chassis versions available, these tend to be the 1600 and 1800 engines. And to be fair, I really prefer the V6. It has a really special quality to it.